People who've heard both their parents and kids have sex, which is more awkward? When I was in high school I had shower sex with my girlfriend at the time at her parents' house when they weren't there. When we finished it turned out that her dad was there during the entirety of the session. And was not pleased with either of us. That was more uncomfortable for me than anything else mentioned. Oh yikes. Yeah. Shampoo and conditioner bottles falling everywhere and St. 1 foot up on the little shelf where the soap goes. We walked out of the bathroom and into her room. I heard his loud deep ass voice call us in their living room. I'd do it again though. If we're being honest. He was moss cause you didn't invite him. Don't have kids yet but my parents really need to learn how to close the DN door. It's much better to face these kinds of things with a sense of poise and rationality. You wake up, walk to the bedroom door and loudly slam it for them. You will get one of two reactions in a normal family. A. They quickly stop and future noises abate or cease entirely. B. They laugh. They keep going. But at least the door is closed. My girlfriend's mom heard us when we had sex for the first time. It turns out her bed squeaks if you move a toe, and considering she's the best looking girl I've been with, I did not care for this consideration one bit that first time. I went home and she went downstairs to that side eyes monkey meme and a rigid silence which was held in place for 3 days like they were practicing for A Quiet Place 2. Both of them coming into my room for sex and me getting caught masturbating to the sound. Bruh. Yas I know. Any NSFW question is basically karma farming at this point. I feel like it'd depend on who's louder. My parents had no shame growing up, and while I've only seen one side of the fence, I'd seriously like to think that my kid will at least make an attempt to keep it classy in the future. This is not what I wanted to be imagining at 1 in the morning when I can't sleep. Damn it up. I know the no shame part. My parents had no problem FG at 2 a.m. waking everyone up who was in the house. When confronted, they acted like not knowing what the problem is and said, "It's our thing what we do at night." I remember my adult sister saying, "Yeah, but your inability to keep things quiet screams disregard for the other people in the house." Quote, waiting for your sister to buy them a ball gag for Christmas. Second this. Well, I mean, I would say it would be more awkward to hear the kids instead of parents because ya know. How else would have you gotten here? Very awkward since my parents had sex with my kids. Is it possible to possess this curse? Not from a Jedi. Well, they have the Jedi code. But it only forbids them to have romantic relationships with people. So I guess prostitutes are okay. It sadly is. It's not very awkward if you're participating. Stop. My kids said the same thing. Ha ha ha. The way you phrased the question. Heard my ex-fiancé's parents. I was living with her in her parents' house. Our room was right next to theirs. Her 2 brothers were visiting their uncle. She had spent the night at a friend's. Later found out they were FG, but that's another story. Her parents must have thought they had the house to themselves. I thought at first her dad had hurt himself or something. But then the penny dropped. Definitely the most awkward moment of my life when they realized later in the day I was in the house when it happened. I think it's very awkward to hear your parents have sex with your kids. Wait, is that not normal? No. It's hurtful and embarrassing that they didn't invite you to join in. Would also like to know. Both at once is rather disconcerting. Funny how I see this post today. I woke up to my mom and stepdad's sex noises. That sure is awkward enough, right? Our walls are thin AF. I could hear every FG detail. Something more awkward to hearing them do it. Confronting them about it cause it was the 3rd time in a row. Asking my future girlfriend to marry me will make me less nervous. I read that completely wrong. I read every FG detail as every detail about the FG. Rather than the expletive it is. Dad came home when I was losing my virginity. Was kinda awkward in the morning, but he just made me a cup of coffee and high-fived me when she went home. Good job, Boa. I just read that in Arthur Morgan's voice. Greet. Hey Mista. Being from Alabama and all. Parents. With their kids? Sweet home Alabama. Parents. My dad told me to always use a condom. Then I walked on him having sex without a condom. I threw a condom water balloon at him. And how's your little brother, sister? How did you know he wasn't wearing a condom? The kids. When you're the younger, you get disgusted and stick a pillow over your head. Or throw in some earphones and turn music on. When you're the older one, you gotta step in and turn the cold water hose on them. Then have the talk. You didn't have the talk. Before they started playing Find the G-Spot. Family game night. I'm talking hypothetically. Along the lines of OP's question. Maybe I should have written a talk instead of the talk. I would have actually said parents if my daughter didn't call me daddy. I should preface this by saying my mom and I have a very close relationship and that she is not shy about how being very much in love with my dad. 37 years going strong. She also thinks she's the master of busting BS. Surprise. She's not. Well, she was teasing saying I needed to keep it down when I am with my BF at the time. Their bedroom was down the hall. To which I retorted, "Oh really? I've had to put up with you and Dad for almost 15 years going at it at 2 a.m. That was a shock to her. She did not know I could hear. I told her I'm a very light sleeper and would have to cover my ears and hum to block it out. I've never seen her turn so red. My dad was later not pleased cause she then refused for the next year to have sex if I was home and in my room. She eventually got over it and I moved out lol. Not because of that but just because I found a place. Have heard both my parents and my daughter. Daughter was way more awkward. Big yikes. And I mean big yikes. Hopefully at different times. Yay. Best she do it behind a dumpster or in a bush like a classy bird. It's worse when it's all of them. I had a couple of my friends over for my birthday and we decided to sleep out in a tent on the back lawn. With a TV, PS4, etc. Anyways, my parents decided to get at it because no one was in the house, so they thought that no one would hear them. Boy were they wrong. Next morning was awkward AF. Definitely my kids. I was in the other room when I hear this primal scream at the top of someone's lungs. For the next 15 minutes I hear my son saying, "I'm so sorry." I wanna hear the story behind this. Accidental AL. Duh. Not much to say. Just my son being the usual disappointment that he is. But I love the kid. He's a good kid. So I him keep on keepin' on. Once when I was on vacation in Spain I forgot to knock on the door of my parents' room and they pulled their pants up and I went back to my room and my bedroom is above their room and sometimes I just hear my dad a-a-a-a-a-a-a-a-a-u-o-h. The time I got caught having sex with my then girlfriend, my parents separated us and told us not to touch each other. I think that hearing your parents having sex as a kid is very awkward. Dude, I read it as hearing your parents have sex as they were kids and my brain crashed for a second. I like the hypothesis that this is where some ghost stories come from. Casper's not the only thing going bump in the night. My dad usually says, "You better be using a condom." Your dad's AFG legend. Even God would bow to this. Which is a slight burn to you if you think about. I think my mom heard me getting a BJ 5 years ago. She asked me to never lock the door to my room. She read me the Bible that night and made pray with her. I can only imagine her reaction to seeing your username here. I'll also pray for you, my dude. TBH. She probably doesn't know what it is. IDK. Might just be my parents. Probably not. Mom probably only knows about Shotacon. There's nothing more awkward than leaving the living room after hearing my parents having sex just to hear my weird uncle taking my sister's virginity before her boyfriend does. Your weird uncle took your sister's virginity? That is weird. Hearing my parents FK was funny. I remember having sleepovers with my friends and we giggled it off. When I have heard my kids, it was still funny as FK, but with a small measure of pride added to it. Get it, girls? Your mom's a freak too. People FK. Your parents. Your kids. Hopefully grown and legally consenting. Even creepy ass looking dudes like me get laid. No big deal. I like this take. I'll bang my girlfriend loud and proud as an act of defiance. Come upstairs with nothing but a robe on and drink milk straight out of the gallon. It's nice to have deaf parents. You forgot to T-pose. Drink the milk straight out of the TS. WTF. Disgusting. Use a glass next time or find your head under a guillotine when I achieve the world leadership. Thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe to the channel for more videos.